This doctor told me that Native American culture, there were men that did not go out on the hunt. They would stay in the village.
Right.
They didn't participate in hunting or war parties. And there was a special name given to those people, but it was not a denouncement or anything. They were actually quite revered. It's tough being either one. But practicing to be a girl, I find out that being a girl, there are a whole lot of things that are hard to do.
Oh, yeah.
I would be the tomboy for sure. Like I was saying last night, to wear eye makeup, you have to stop touching your face. And that's more, I think, in this society's eyes, being pretty is more a feminine trait than it is a masculine trait. If a man tries to be pretty, we'll get back to like the 1950s attitude, he's in for a lot of derisive comments, attitudes. People get hurt over this. Billy Bob don't really like to see you doing that. I do know that smaller cities, I wouldn't want to be a transgender person. I would try my best to move to a place that people could at least appreciate the person inside and not the person outside. I'd have to answer that for the most part, yes. For the most part, when we were playing, I would rather have the male role. But at the same time, I was shamed into wanting to be that. Okay, for instance, I still to this day adore the smell of baby powder. Johnson's give you ovarian cancer, but you'll smell good dying. So if I were to ask to be powdered, to sprinkle powder on me, once I was out of diapers, then it was only girls wear that. Boys don't smell like that. Then there were, times that I did question it. There were times that I wasn't sure I wanted to be what I was. There were times that I thought I was really feminine looking enough that I would be concerned that other people might perceive I'm a girl if I put that dress or that shirt or that pair of pants on, or if I wear that color. The first time I was aware that there might be duality in me and that I might actually possess a feminine side was probably in my early teens. I found it as a source of embarrassment, actually, that I would be recognized as a girl, especially from behind. Someone saw me from behind. I had long hair. You couldn't really tell I was a guy. Probably the first times that I actually wished that I was a girl goes back to when I was 3 and 4 years old. I wanted to do those things my sister and cousin was doing, because they were girls. The perfume and the powder thing, smelling good. Very early age. And the first time that I guess, the one that really hit me the hardest, that I said, wow, where is that coming from? And that's probably 9-10 years ago. I was in a work van right along the belt line. And I have this incredible need, urge, empty feeling that I couldn't wait to get home and jump my husband's bones. I didn't have a husband. Don't really like men. That's not something you can talk about to anybody. Not even your wife. Becky's gotten better about it now. I can talk to her about it some now, but for the longest kind of time she didn't understand it. And I've tried to wear her shoes about that. I don't know how I'd feel if she come in and said, yeah, I want to be a guy. I want to talk rough. I want to have hair all over my body. I want to have a dick and balls. Baby, we need to sit down and talk a little bit. I'm not sure I want to go down that road with you. I love you, but part of the reason I do is to package her in, and that might be an issue. I've since looked out really hard at it, and the appropriate answer would be, well, if you're going to be a guy, I'm going to be a girl, and then we'll be happy. That's not going to happen, though. She loves being a woman too much, too. And for all the right reasons. But I don't know, she finally came around to it and understood that it was a place I was at inside my head, and it didn't really have anything to do with her, and I think that was a big thing. At first it was like, I think there was more female here actually, and it made her bristle. She was like fighting me for me. Do you understand? She perceived me so much a woman that she thought that woman was going to take her man away. And I can get in touch with that now. I understand that. It's like she was jealous of the female me. So when we were together and I felt girly, she was full of animosity. And I had a hard time understanding that because, you know, inside it's still me. I ain't done anything different. I'm just, you know, kind of exploring a new facet of me. It's a part of me I never really gave a chance to look at. Eventually we got around to where we could talk about it without her feeling angry, or I'm not real sure. I don't know that the emotion was angry. We've actually talked about that some since then, and she's let me know that she was threatened by that female personality. I asked Becky to get me a tiger outfit, you know, so that I could wear it and be the tiger. The only thing they had available was a woman's outfit. I didn't know it was a woman's garment when I put it on, but I couldn't go anywhere. I had to take it off. I have never felt so utterly feminine. I had to enter the garment through the neckline, right? You're a girl, you know those kind of things, that's the way you put them on. So that was different right then, and then I'm like, oh my God, I have to strip to pee. So do girls, okay? But it won't the flash of insight, oh well, the girls do this all the time. It's like, oh my God, for a man, that's terrible. I got to pull my top down and stand, oh, I'll be pissed all over it. All those things flash through your mind, and today I would wear it. To tell you I'd wear it and be proud of it. But that time, in that day and age, I was totally embarrassed. And maybe that is, when you stop and think about it, maybe that was the beginning of it. Mm-hmm. You know, most of the time you're most fearful of those truthful things that you don't want to see, you know. Maybe it's one of those times, wow, you really are more girly looking than you want to say, you know. Strike at your masculinity. And at one time that would have bothered me. Now I feel like I kind of ride the fence. I can be either or, and I know that's awfully ugly to the men and women that are glad and proud to be what they are all the time. I do believe in the duality of the icon for my time of birth, Pisces. The two fish struggling against each other, male against female. At one time that was maybe good against evil, but now I'm beginning to see maybe it's a male-female struggle. Sure. It's not good and evil. And it balances, you know, because the guy says, oh, wait a minute, you can't do that. And the girl says, well, why can't I? And then likewise, the girl says, you can't do that. And the guy's going, well, why can't I? Becky brought me to that realization one day. I can't remember now how it came about, but she looked at me and said, you are a cross-dresser. And in my mind, a cross-dresser that is someone that seeks out to wear other genders' clothing solely for some weird purpose. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Okay? And so I stopped and looked at her and I said, you're right. I prefer to wear women's clothing, so that by definition makes me a cross-dresser.
Right.
Several of those things you read off, I don't particularly like the sound of it because it creates the feeling that you're outside of the normal bubble. But wait a minute, I excel in being proud of being outside of the normal bubble. So I shouldn't find offense at that. I shouldn't find that I feel put down by associating myself with those words. And when you stop and face it head on like that, you have to hit the part that says, that is me. By golly damn, that part of that is me. You read toenail polish. I love it. I'd like to be able to do it, but when I do it to me, it doesn't look right.
My recollection of everything that happened started that Christmas, around that Christmas. Or before, but the first time I encountered you was that Christmas. And
I have to say that's when it really came to a head, as far as everybody kind of stepping up and saying, yeah, this ain't you and this ain't the way you're supposed to be. And it was hard because it was happening inside my head. I was feeling it, and I couldn't get anyone to understand, and I couldn't get anyone to talk to just, okay, let's forget who we are and what our relationship is. This is something that I'm having an issue with. I don't understand where I'm going, and I have yet to talk to someone that could help me understand it. It was after I had the cancer and that PA, when I was saying about that had the child out of wedlock intentionally. I admired her for doing that, and she was kind of a kindred spirit. She understood. She could tell that I was struggling. I don't know how exactly, but she's the one that suggested this doctor. And I think her interpretation of things when I came was that I was having issues dealing with cancer. And as we got to talking, it came out it was not. It was more issues. And the final session that I had with her, I asked her, said, my biggest concern, do you think I'm crazy? Or, you know, just what? And she looked at me and told me that she felt I could function equally well in either world, masculine or feminine. And there was nothing wrong about having these feelings, that in fact, back to the Indian thing, the Native Americans, they had men that were that way, and they were revered kind of in the village because they helped the village live. It helped me understand some, just to know that I wasn't losing reality, that I wasn't going crazy, that it was something that actually some people did go through. And the funny thing is, I still feel it, but it's not near as strong as it once was. I still get irritated, agitated, angry, upset when I hear people putting women down. And blow that breath out, take in another one, you hear somebody bashing men, I get upset about that. It takes both of us, male and female, regardless, you know the genetic part or the sex part, but still in a mental part, I think it takes both for the whole world to exist. I've become comfortable with the idea that I have like a dual personality. I don't, not like full schizo or something where there's a definite split personality. In one moment I'm this way and the next moment I'm that way. But I feel like I have insight to women's emotions, because I get those emotions sometimes, and it's not something that I would say in this society that's typically a male emotion. It's not. It's what you usually expect to hear from women.
Do you think that that part of this is sort of opening up things that normally men aren't allowed to feel? Like, do you feel like
Yes,
men
I do.
are really as emotional as women, but they're not given permission?
I do believe you've hit on something that I have come to recognize in myself as a large possibility. Men have this ability if they're willing to stand up and take it. But society places so much value on men being the strong, silent type to suffer quietly, and we don't want to hear about your gripes, that for the most part they could do it, but they won't. If I can't have the whole full money, if I can't bring a life into the world and nurture it and give birth to it, feed it, be the woman. I don't want to play it being a woman. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? That's, I guess, why, not to mention the expense that would just, all it would do, I really thought this out. If someone give me the money so that it was not a worry for me, that I had the money to just go have anything done I wanted done, there's several things I got to look at. Number one, I've had cancer. So that means my immune system is compromised. It definitely cannot recognize a cancer cell as something that it needs to combat. What would happen if I start taking hormones? How much cancer would I turn loose? It's an unknown. There's no way to get a quantitative or qualitative answer to that. The only way to know would be to walk that walk. And I'm not sure I'm willing to do that just so that I can feel right. I know up here, there's a large part of me that I feel is feminine. There's a large part of me that still feels masculine. Although I do have trouble now understanding what does being masculine mean. Those lines have been blurred by society so much. You know, at one time it was easy to say, well, the guy's the one that goes out and gets all the food and fights all the ugly animals and does all the hard work. Did you ever hang around and do what the women were doing while them guys were out seeking a monster? It's hard work. You know, I don't care if you're washing clothes, chewing hides to make clothes, gathering firewood. Women's work was always been a thankless job, kind of like what you mentioned earlier. Somebody drops a piece of clothing, there's a woman gonna come pick that up. Oh, that infuriates me. You know, the girl in me just, I'm ready to go to war about that. And the man in me says, well, it's not always men that are slobs. You know, there are some women that are slobs. My grandmother was. I don't think I would ever choose to have that surgery now. The last part of this, I'm kind of vain. I make one hell of an ugly woman. So I don't, you know, it scares me to think about going all the way with it. But I would so love to have a vagina. I don't know why. Is it the male thing? This is something that I can't answer for myself even. everything about that part of a female's anatomy. I totally love it. The fact that the crack runs all the way from one side to the other. I don't know why. Balls get in the way. I sit on them, I pinch them. He steps on them, she steps on them. Yeah, I'd be happy to not have them. But right now, that's, my only source of testosterone. So I guess I'm gonna have to keep them if I'm gonna stay a guy.
I'm going to ask you a series of questions that
Sure.
that don't necessarily relate to the gender issue, but I want you to approach them from the point of view of the gender issue.
I'm gonna be honest with you, I have trouble not doing that anymore.
Good. What's your favorite word?
I don't know if it would be a favorite word per se, but an emotion that's associated with the word. Whatever the word is that lets you know right now you're comfortable. You're okay in this surrounding. The people that you're in contact with accept you for being a real person that's not a weird flaco. You know,
What is your least favorite word?
hate. It's just a really strong word and no one should have to experience it.
Wait, when you hit the pearly gates, what do you want God to say to you?
Your name is in this book of life, but today, Roy, we're going to give you an option. You can go back and live another life. No guarantees. No guarantees that you'll be male or female, human or what. But you get to go back to Earth and live another life. It's not going to change what's already happened. If you're here, you're here. If you're not, you're not. But you can go back and live another life. That's what I'd like to hear. And I'll tell you why. You ride amusement rides, big slides, roller coasters. Think about the one that you had the most fun on. What did you want to do when you got off? Most people would like to go again, unless they got scared. If they really enjoyed it though, they want to get on it and ride it again. That's the way I feel about my life. There's been hard times, but mostly I remember the good times, and it's all been good enough that I'd be willing to take a chance to have another go at it. Just because it's been so much fun to me.